Come on. Shania Twain, Man, I Feel Like a Woman. So we're talking about e-cigarettes at the moment. From today, the first advert on television to promote smoking for 49 years. They were banned in 1965, but this is for e-cigarettes this time. The electronic ones. Is that a good thing, or will it glamorise smoking? Let's talk to David, who's been using e-cigarettes since May 2009. David, that right?
That's exactly right, Mike, yes.
Yeah, good morning to you. So,
good morning to you, sir.
How many cigarettes were you smoking before you switched?
60 a day.
60?
Yep.
How much was that costing then?
Oh, Lord. 5.5 years ago, I can't remember, but it'd be about, probably 25 quid a day.
Yeah.
Possibly more.
So quite an addiction. And was it the money?
Habit.
Yeah.
Quite a habit, yes.
Was it the money then that made you switch?
No, not at all. Not at all. It was the fact that smoking was banned everywhere I worked as a sound engineer. When e-cigs came along and I was introduced on a one-to-one basis, if you like, I saw somebody using one. I saw the opportunity to carry on doing what I was doing, and only after I picked up on them, realised what the benefits were to my well-being, shall we say. Can I just, before we go much further, pick you up on your lead into this? Because this is not advertising smoking. It's not cigarette advertising.
It is, though, isn't it?
No, it's really an anti-smoking advert, isn't it? What's being advertised is an alternative to smoking. It's a smarter kind of anti-smoking pitch to smokers, and I don't see where smoking comes into it, to be honest. It's the alternative to smoking.
I kind of take your point, but on the surface, it's about putting a device which delivers nicotine into your mouth.
Well, yes, we've seen loads of adverts for that over the last 30 years. If that's what it's going to be, then the inhalator, the nicotine inhalator that was being pushed on television with very sexy advertising, well within the 30 years' time.
So you don't see it as smoking? It should be called, well, it is called vaping.
It is. It's in the dictionary as vaping, yes.
And for you then, is it hitting the spot? Is it delivering the same satisfaction that you got from cigarettes?
Yes, it is, and actually more so. It's a much more enjoyable, for me, way of doing what I do. And because I've researched it very deeply, and I'm assured by world-renowned experts like Professor John Britton and Peter Hayek that taking clean nicotine is probably little different from using caffeine, as in drinking coffee or tea.
You're the second person to tell me that today, so...
Well, I mean, it seems to be pretty well established. You know, these guys are experts. These are the people that came up with NRT and all of the other stuff that has medicinal regulation, and they're telling us that, you know, the addiction potential is way, way lower with clean nicotine than it is with smoking lit tobacco, and that the risk potential is on a par with caffeine. You know, there are times I wonder what all the fuss is about, if I'm to be honest.
So would you be happy for teenagers, then, to take up vaping?
If a given teenager was likely to start smoking lit tobacco and decided to go down the e-cig route instead, I would be a lot happier, yes. I think logically, if using nicotine in a clean fashion via an e-cig is on a par with drinking caffeine, how many people are upset by adolescents and teenagers taking up drinking coffee? In fact, it seems to be encouraged in very many places.
But when teenagers see this advert, and it's not supposed to appeal to the under-18s at all, but how you do that, I'm not quite sure.
Well, that's a good one on me. I don't know how you decide what appeals to anybody.
But it could encourage young people generally to take up vaping, and it's better that they don't. I take your point about, you know, vaping doesn't include all the nasty things you get in cigarettes, but it's best if they don't take it up at all, isn't it?
Well, it's probably best if they don't take up drinking coffee at all, and they don't start drinking alcohol or eating fast food. I mean, where do we stop, Mike?
Well, you could just not advertise these things on the telly, couldn't you? That's what you could do.
There'd be no telly then, because most of the adverts appear to be for things that other folks think we shouldn't use.
Well, that's not strictly true, though, is it?
Well, I don't know.
The restrictions on alcohol and, you know, the way that's portrayed.
Yes, but it's still advertised. Look, here's the thing. This is the question that we've got to ask. Will these adverts result in a reduction in smoking of lit tobacco or an increase in smoking of lit tobacco? And I think it's going to result in a reduction in the smoking of lit tobacco. I really don't see, and I've seen the adverts already, I don't see that they're going to encourage anybody to go up to the corner shop and buy 20 fags. They're not. They might well go up and buy an e-cig, but then, as we've said, if it's on a par with caffeine, I don't really see logically that there's a problem with that.
David Dawn, thank you very much. If you want to join the conversation, it's 01642 225511. And let's say good morning now to Nick, who's got the travel update.
Good morning, Michael.
Excellent stuff.
Yes, that's good to hear. We've also been speaking about smoking e-cigarettes throughout the morning this morning, haven't we? Vaping, yes. Now, we've heard from Ron in Middlesbrough in regards to this, and he says e-cigarettes are not condoning cigarettes at all. They do the same job as nicotine patches, and that is to stop smoking tobacco products. We've also heard from Graham the cabbie from Billingham, and he says you're not allowed to smoke cigarettes in his cab, and he also doesn't allow people to smoke e-cigarettes either. Anyone who sees someone with an e-cig wouldn't know if it was a real one or not, and he could get into trouble with the licensing authorities if they thought that he was letting people smoke.
A lot of people think that, don't they? I think that it's best to, even though there's no danger to the people around you,
No.
Because, it's just steam, isn't it, that comes out?
Yeah, but it's that action, isn't it? It's the motion,
Yeah.
I think, of having the cigarette between your fingers and then the puffing of the smoke. Everyone just links it straight
And they
to
think that you're
cigarettes.
smoking a cigarette.
Yeah. So they're the thoughts coming in on that this morning.
Thank you.
Teesside, County Durham and North Yorkshire.
Proud of where we live. BBC Tees.
And at 11:30, the news update now from Hannah McMahon.
David Cameron's told business leaders that Europe, come what may, was not...